All right, guys, we are live. Episode 47 of the Shooter's Mindset. Man, we're here tactically late. Man, I tell you what, I got some at a restaurant, got some bad service. It's pretty bad, but I know you guys are here. You guys are tuning in. Yeah, I saw you guys waiting before I even got this guy started. And we got here. We got a great guest as usual. We're doing a special edition. We're here with Kyle Lamb, U.S. Special Forces, Viking Tactics. You guys know him. You probably trained with him already. How's it going, Kyle?
Very, very good. So here's the deal, man. I skipped chow to be here, so I'm really hungry right now.
Oh man, now you're making me feel even worse. 'Cause
No,
my
I'm
stomach's
good.
nice and full, but we're still running late. And thanks you guys for hanging in there. You're here with my co-host Kelly Samsel's in the house. Kelly, how's it going?
Good, I'm back again. Night two.
I don't think we talked about that three-gun match much on last night's show that you did in Central Florida, and I think we touched on it, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We got like a
Okay.
weather up there is probably a little bit better than here. We got a hurricane sweeping right by Florida right now, so my internet's still intact. Good for that. We got my buddy here, a special guest for this show, Richard Newtile. How's it going, Rich?
Another day in paradise, buddy. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Rich is the owner of Tactical Applications Consulting, and he is also former Special Weapons Coordinator at the SIG Academy. We're supposed to have we're supposed to have a show, and we are going to have a show with Rich individually, but we're going to have Rich help us out with this one with Kyle, so it's going to be an awesome show. I want to remind you guys that the Q&A section in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, if you click that, you can ask us any questions on the panel, any questions you want to get to Kyle. You can throw in those questions there. We'll screen them, we'll get them to Kyle, and we'll get rolling. Giveaway is a really good giveaway from show sponsors. Blaytech Industries is hooking this one up, as they always do every show. Fort Mill Munitions is a big show sponsor here and supporter. And we got DK Custom Triggers. They make some fine Glock triggers. So if you guys are competition, duty triggers, you just want to tweak that Glock trigger that you carry for home defense, if you're into that, give DK Custom Triggers a shout, and I'll hook you guys up. So Kyle, man, let's start it off here. For those who are unfamiliar, I don't know how many viewers aren't. I mean, they had to live under a rock. But tell the guys who are unfamiliar with you a little bit more about yourself and what you have accomplished in the shooting career and what you're doing currently.
All right. Well, I was in the military for 21 years, and once I got tired of the killing, it made me cold inside. I decided to get out and do something a little bit different. So took it on the road, teaching some shooting. I'm the founder of Viking Tactics. While I was in the military, I was with several special forces units, and that's what I did most of my career. I started out as a paratrooper, but then I went to special forces and did that. Once I got out, started training, teaching folks how to shoot, was really enjoying that. We started developing a product line as well. So now with Viking Tactics, that's a large part of our business is our products, everything from the slings, which that's our flagship product, light mounts, DVDs, books, targets, whether it's steel or paper targets. We also do some consulting, work with some other companies like Rand CLP. They're one of your sponsors. Blaytech as well. I've known Tim Wagner and Tom Crawford from Blaytech for years and years, and worked very closely with them. And Leupold, Surefire, Smith & Wesson, 511. There's several different people that we've worked with out there, and what I do. And when I'm not on the range shooting, I am spending most of my time hunting. So that's about all I do. When I'm at home, I still spend a lot of time in the woods. We've got 400 acres outside of Nashville that we call home now. We just recently moved our business here, so we're building a house right now, so we're kind of stuck in a little cabin until that's finished, but we've got our warehouse up and running on our property, so 400 acres to play around with. Got our own ranges here. We don't run classes on this property, but it's just for personal use. So if I want to walk to work or take a four-wheeler to work, I can do that, or I can take the road if I need to.
Yeah, so when you're not shooting, you're still shooting technically.
Well, like this morning, I got up at 5 and headed to the river and took the dog and the kayak, and we fished for a couple hours down, did a float down the river. But Yeah, when I'm not on the range shooting for my job, I try to get out and do a little shooting with a 22 or hunting or whatever. I like to
Yeah.
read, I like to write, I like to
You got the
shoot.
whole you got the whole package going on over there. When we talked earlier through email, we were supposed to get this show set up like last month, but Kyle was all the way in South Africa doing a hunt. I mean, so how was that? I mean, we were talking a little bit on the pre-chat here because obviously, if you're traveling that far to hunt something, you're obviously going for something special there.
Yeah, so actually I went last year with Hornaday as one of their guests. My wife and I went, and I wrote a few articles for Hornaday for some magazines, and went over there with Neil Davies, who's a good friend of mine from Hornaday, and it was an awesome experience. I'd been to Africa before, but the last few times people were shooting at me, but we were able to shoot back. This time we didn't have anybody shooting at us, but we still were able to shoot some critters. So this trip, I got a gemsbuck and kudu, which I'd already harvested them before, but I wanted to get a Nyala, hartebeest, wildebeest, and a springbuck, and was able to do that. And then I was telling you earlier about a pretty cool shot on a baboon at 500 yards off a ridge line from the shooting sticks that they videoed. So we'll probably see that coming along here one of these days. And
So you got the baboon on the move 500 yards away. Is that correct?
well, he stopped to holler at us and sat up on the ridge line, and him and his buddy were sitting there. So he drew the short straw, and they'd shot at him a bunch, so they're pretty skittish there. And I had snuck down this road to get within 500 yards. Everybody else was back cooking up. They decided to cook a little chow on the side of this trail, so they started a fire and they were going to cook some lamb chops. And I said, "Man, there's baboons hollering at us. I'm going to go and check them out." So I just waited and had a little patience. Dialed up. I had the Leupold 3 to 18, so I dialed up to 18 power, and I think it was like 32 clicks I had to put on my scope. And the camera guy went up there with me because he said, "Yeah, we'll try to get some footage of these baboons." And I whacked this thing. It was pretty cool.
Rich, you're loaded up. You were hyped up for this show with Kyle. What do you have? What do you have for him?
I got a load of questions. I got probably 3 pages of questions, and I'll try to keep everything, short. Well, real quickly, I got to lead into this. I'm going to take about 5 minutes or 2 minutes of airtime. Quick story about back in 2006, I was working down at SIG. I stopped at this gas station to clean out my truck, and I was taking some stuff out, and I was throwing the trash away, and inside this trash bin was a soft cover of Black Hawk Down. And I'm not proud of this, but I don't read. It's just not one of the things I like to do. I've never been really interested in reading. I read that book in 2 days. It was the only thing I've ever read, and I've read since then a lot of things with Mike Durant, stuff like that. I've met Michael up here in New Hampshire. But, Delta, you've been Iraq, Bosnia, Somalia, Mogadishu in '93. I mean, you've got an incredible history. And I was very taken back by what happened during Mogadishu. And I know that Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart were teammates of yours. And we all know the ending of what happened in that. Can you tell us something really great about those two guys that you remember in the time you were with them? I mean, some fond memories of those guys?
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple stories. So Randy was one of the nicer gentlemen I've ever met. Randy was like a cowboy. We kind of referred to him as Casca, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book series Casca, but that was a book that was written by the fellow that wrote The Ballad of the Green Beret. I can't even think of the guy's name right now, but anyway, Casca was this Roman soldier who was there when Jesus was crucified, and Jesus looked down on him and said, "I'm going to punish you, and you will walk the earth for eternity as your chosen profession as a soldier." So Casca continued to get in trouble. He worked in mines for 500 years. He couldn't die, so here he was a warrior, but he got stuck working in a mine, and then he became a soldier doing this or that. He was in Vietnam and got shot in the head, and they brought him in, and his skull closed up as they watched him because he's Casca. He just can't die. Well, that's how we referred to to Randy, because Randy, he looked like this older gentleman, even though he wasn't that old, but he was just kind of that. He was that warrior, you know. He was a cowboy. He was a ranger. He was a Green Beret. He was a Delta guy. He was awesome. So one of the stories with Randy, and he was a guy that when I came on board, he'd been in the squadron for a while. I'm a new guy. He came right up to me and said, "Hey, I'm Randy. I kind of had this drawl." And I'm not sure how he got the drawl, because I know he's from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I've been to his gravesite up there, and he had a drawl. He always had this cowboy hat on. I was on duty one night at the unit pulling staff duty NCO, which might surprise you that guys like us have to do that, but there's a staff duty officer, staff duty NCO, and I'm sitting there late one night, and all of a sudden I hear the front door of the unit open, because you sit close to that door. The door opens and I hear these claws on the floor coming, and I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? So I'm supposed to be there to make sure nobody does anything sideways at Delta at the time, and Randy had a Rhodesian Ridgeback, which is this huge dog, and I come around the corner, and that dog comes around the corner, and he sticks his nose right in my crotch, and he starts growling, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to get sideways here pretty soon. And luckily, Randy called his dog off, and then everything was great. But yeah, Randy was just Randy was a great guy. Now Gary, on the other hand, was also a great guy, but Gary didn't like new guys. So as a new guy, Gary was like, yeah, whatever. He just wasn't a warm guy quite like Randy was. And Gary, one of the things I always remembered about him was he always carried a Gatorade bottle, and some of these stories are pre-plastic Gatorade bottles, so he'd have a glass Gatorade bottle with him all the time, because he chewed tobacco, and this was the old days when it was fine to do that, and he always had that bottle with him, spitting tobacco juice in it. So we were heading overseas, and we put our vehicles inside of this aircraft, strapped them all down, and then what we would do is we would crawl underneath the vehicles, lay out our sleeping mats, crawl underneath there, and grab your poncho liner, pop a little blue pill that puts you to sleep for about 8 hours, and then you'd wake up, and you're in Germany. You'd get off the plane, they'd refuel, you'd go get some chow, get back on, pop another pill, wake up, and you're in Jordan or Israel or Saudi or Kuwait or wherever you're headed. So I'm laying under this vehicle, and if you've been on a military aircraft, they have a hard time controlling the temperatures from the front of the aircraft to the rear of the aircraft. So the front of the aircraft will be warm, and the rear of the aircraft will be, you can see your breath. So I always try to be towards the rear of the aircraft, because I wanted to be where it was cold, because I could take my poncho liner and cover up and try to stay warm. So I'm laying there, and it started to get warm, and I was like, man, I'm sweating. Man, what's going on? I'm really starting to sweat here. And by the way, Gordy was sitting in the seat that was the right front seat of our vehicles. That's where he decided to hang out. So he was reclined in this seat way up there. And I thought, man, I'm getting so hot that I am like soaking wet with sweat. I'm so hot. It took a few minutes for me to realize that Gordy had dropped his spit bottle on top of me, and I had tobacco spit from my waist down. I was soaked in Gary Gordon's tobacco spit. So I guess that's, at the time I didn't look at it as an honor, but I guess it's an honor to have the privilege to wallow in another man's spit there. But yeah, they are both characters, and I wasn't real tight with Gordy, but Randy. I mean, Randy was one of those guys that just, if you ever meet somebody that didn't like Randy, then they got a problem, because he was a really great man.
Good. Well, thank you for those stories. Now, how long did you have boots on the ground in Mogadishu before October the 3rd? How long were you there for?
Yeah, I think we were there a couple months. We had completed did, I think, 6 operations up to that point. The 7th one was the 3 and 4 October mission. You know, and you look back on it, it's a little bit different than it was in Iraq, because in Iraq we sometimes would do 5, 6, 7 missions in one day, and over there, you know, a mission was kind of a big deal. We were pretty archaic in the way we operated. We were at the cutting edge, but we were archaic compared to what young men and women are doing overseas these days. You know, and I think a lot of the progress we made is because of what happened to us in Mogadishu, because we had that kind of a dry spell after that where we did a few things in Bosnia and a few other places, but I mean, Mogadishu was a really great place to learn on the battlefield about our equipment, about the way we operated, and then finally now we're back in the fight. Of course, you know, now we're kind of getting out of it. But Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of the lessons learned from Mogadishu have been applied directly to the battlefields there.
Yeah, good stuff. Great stories, man. I mean, kind of one of the things that I've always regretted is not being able to join the military. And you know, you always see, even what was the movie recently released? I hate to compare your real life story to a movie, but
300.
What's that?
300.
No, not that. I mean, if you were doing that stuff, I mean, but Lone Survivor. That's what it was recently. Loved the movie, and where you watched the movie the first time, and the dramatic battle scenes, everything that went down. I'm watching it with my fiance over here, and after the movie was all said and done, and I was like, man, I should have been out there with those guys. You know what I mean? So I always had that thing. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest regrets that I have is not entering and serving the country. And it's July 4th, so I mean, it's like perfect timing to have you on. I just wanted to thank you for your service, beforehand. We'll thank you probably a million more times as the show goes on.
Well, thank you.
We're gonna switch gears here and announce the giveaway. I know, I don't even remember when we started the show because I usually say the midway point of the show, but I don't even know what time we started here. But we got a great giveaway from some great companies, and Kyle can agree with a lot of these, actually all of them. But we have a 2-ounce bottle of Rand CLP. That's from randsbrands.com, and you can also go to vikingtactics.com to purchase these. They come in a 2-ounce and a 4-ounce bottle. We also have some rip and drips here, some on-the-go stuff in the range bag, some emergency supply. We got those. Also, we got 2 FDE magazine, AR magazine pouches, and that's courtesy of Blade Tech Industries, so we're doing that. We're also doing the Viking Tactics light mount for the AR. So that's going out, and we have also a knife courtesy of Blade Tech Industries. So we'll have a link posted in the comment section below this video, and we'll also have a link posted on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. So there's 2 ways you can enter. If you can get bonus entries, so you have possibly like 5 entries you can get into this giveaway. If you like Viking Tactics on Facebook, if you like their Facebook and you haven't liked it, if you like it now, you get an entry. And Blade Tech Industries and everybody who's involved with this giveaway, if you like their Facebook page, you will get an extra entry. And we'll get that link to the website up. I know I'm kind of slow on the operation for this one, but I'll send it over to Schwell, and he'll get it all posted for us. All right, so that's great. Giveaway's ending at 11 Eastern. So you guys, even if the show's over, you still have time to enter that stuff, and that's all courtesy of Rand CLP and Blade Tech Industries.
Good stuff right there.
Yeah, no doubt. And Kyle, like you said, you train tons of students, and you shoot tons of firearms. Hunting firearms, AR, you probably shot it if it's been made.
Well,
Why?
no, that's probably not true. I'm going to interrupt you right there. I am a shooter. I'm not a gun guy. Now that may sound really weird, but I'm not a gun guy. I love guns, but I love the guns I have.
Right. I
actually did. Like AKs and SKSs. I never owned an AK until Obama was elected the second time, and then to celebrate his re-election, I went out and bought 2 AKs because I thought they would definitely be collector's items after he was in office. So I'm just, like I said, I have nothing against any guns out there. I want people to buy whatever they can buy, but man, I feel kind of bad sometimes because guys start spouting all this nomenclature about all these military weapons, and I just nod my head because I have no clue what they're talking about. Absolutely no clue. Now,
Man,
when
I
it
was
comes to shooting it, you give it to me and you show me where the controls are, and I'll make it run. But I'm just
well. Let's switch it
I'm
up
just
here.
not that guy, I guess.
You put a lot of rounds downrange. So I mean, why? And there's tons of manufacturers who do CLP and gun cleaner and lube, and they do tons of it out there. Why would you trust brand CLP on your firearms?
Well, that's another story, I guess. One thing that you probably knew going into this is I like to tell stories. So here's my Rand CLP story. Rand called me up. They sent me an email and they said, "Hey, we'd like you to check out this CLP." Well, to me, all CLP is just CLP, whatever. Every CLP I've seen, I've just used it and it fails. One way or another, it fails. And I just kind of went through a whole deal with Fire Clean, getting harassed by those guys, and then people are using frog lube to brush their teeth or whatever they use it for, and so I told Rand, I said, I'm not. Here's the deal. I'll do it as a consultant. And really, what I was trying to do is I don't want any free stuff sent to me, because if I get free stuff, then people feel like they can control me, So I said, I'm really not interested, but if you want us to do a consulting gig for you, we will. So they go, yeah, let's get on here and talk. So I called them up and I told them, hey, I do a 1-month test on their lube, and I was going to charge them X number of dollars to do that. I mean, to me, it was business. I was going to take their lube just like I'd taken every other lube out there, and I was going to make it fail, because it all fails. And a month into it, they said, okay, yeah, we're interested. And I thought, crap, I didn't want them to accept this consulting thing, because I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have time to test this lube. So they said, yep, roger that, we want to do it. So I get this lube, and I start lubing up these guns, and I go out to make it fail, and it really pissed me off because I could not make the Rand CLP fail. So I called John, me and Donkey, you know John as well, and called him up, and I said, yeah, I got a problem. And he goes, oh crap, what's the problem? And he's envisioning that I got a gun that's not working because of the CLP. And I said, well, the problem is I can't get your CLP to fail, so I'm taking it to Germany and I'm going to make it fail over there. And he goes, all right, what's up? And I said, well, I'm going to go stick it in some snowbanks where we're training with the 10th Special Forces Group guys. We're going to get this stuff I'm going to give you some real test data. So I got over there, and we had these bottles of lube stuck in the snowbanks. We had a bunch of different lubes stuck in snowbanks, and then we're using it and playing around with it on the range. And I'm telling the guys what we're doing, and once again, the Rand did not fail. So at that point, I thought, well, maybe there is something to this stuff. So then I really started picking their brains to find out what set this lube apart from all the other lubes out there. And I'm going to tell you, there's nothing out there like it. And it wasn't because I was getting paid as a consultant that I was going out and saying good things. I really wanted to prove that I could make this lube fail, because whether it's Frog Lube or Fire Clean or Break Free or WD-40 or whatever it is, I've been able to make those lubes fail, or they were toxic, or they were made for roller coasters, or whatever the spin was there. I haven't been able to make the Rand fail, and now we've got some other products we're working on with them as well, bore cleaners and some carbon cutter type stuff that you can use, which I'm not a big fan of cleaning guns. I like to just keep adding lube. I keep the barrels very clean, and I keep the rest of the parts. I like to hose them off and then add more Rand CLP and get rolling. But we've got some new products we've been working on with them that I actually like to use, because I can take a bolt carrier out, lay it on a piece of cardboard, and this is probably not the way they want me to do this, but this is the way I do it. I lay it on a piece of cardboard. I hose everything down with it. It cleans everything off for me. I shake it off, maybe wipe it if I need to. Then I re-lube it and I stick it back in the rifle, and away I go. And then the barrels, I use a bore snake to clean my barrels, generally speaking. And if I've got a barrel that I'm really trying to test, I'll use a rod on it so I know that I've got all the copper out. But yeah, that's how Rand came about, and this stuff is awesome. And they said, we're trying to to launch the product, and they said, would you be interested in endorsing this product? And I said, heck yeah. I mean, I put my name on it because truly I haven't been able to get it to fail. And when you try to add, you add heat, you add sitting the gun inside of a vault for a couple months, like if you take Militech, you stick that on a gun, put it in a gun vault, and then you pull it out and your gun's corroded. And there's several different lubes out there that if you get smart on them, you're going to realize that they're not made for, you got a gunfight or something going on outside your window there. You might want to get down on the floor. Just saying. No? Rich, Rich, are you there, man? Are you still with us? There's gunfire coming through your window, Rich. Please get on the floor. I saw that.
There is serious incoming.
Yeah, there are some evil critters out there too. The other day I was out in the woods hunting. I saw a leprechaun, and this leprechaun was it followed me for many miles through the woods, but I was able to outsmart the leprechaun and escape. But no, there's if you get a paraffin-based lube, and Anthony, just shut me up whenever you want to here, but I've learned so much about lube in the last couple years working with these guys that it's incredible. Paraffin-based, if you have a paraffin-based lube, which is a very, very efficient lubricant, the problem is it's caustic, so it's used in cutting metals in factories, and then they spray everything down to get all the paraffin-based lube off. A lot of these gun lubes are paraffin-based, so basically what you're doing is putting a corrosive liquid or a corrosive oil into your weapon, and if you don't remove it immediately after you're done shooting, you're going to have corrosion, and that's what a lot of these cheaper gun oils out there they have, because paraffin works really well, and it's a great lubricant. It just corrodes your weapon. So if you don't care about it, then go for it, I guess.
No, yeah, John told me, he's like, you're going to get him going on the RAN CLP stuff, and he'll go forever on just the RAN CLP stuff. I'm like, well, let's do it. And,
well, I like to learn. Every time I get up in the morning, I hope that somehow that day I learn something different, something new and exciting, and maybe it's not exciting, but it's something new that I need to know. And when you talk about the vegetable esters and them being an active ester that works through the carbon into the metal, that's amazing stuff to me. And then the nanotechnology that they have, the way they mix this stuff so you don't have to shake it up, it doesn't settle. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm very careful about what I put my name on. And if you look at the products that have our name out there, there's a few, but they're quality products.
Yeah, no doubt. I know when you put your name on it that you trusted it, and so if you guys are listening and you have something other than RAN CLP, just chuck it out the window and go ahead and buy yourself some, all right? Kelly, I know you had a few questions lined up for Kyle there, so what do you got for Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to, get you off of that and talk about the training and the things that you do, but for some of the people that watch, that might be what they know you from. So do you want to talk about some of the classes that you do?
Well, probably our most famous class is the Carbine 1.5 class, and the way that came about was we were teaching carbine classes, and we had a student from New Jersey, a guy named Dan Fay, and he said, man, you can't call this Carbine 1, it's because your Carbine 1 is way above everybody else's Carbine 1, so you should call it like Carbine 1.5. So that's where the Carbine 1.5 came from. But we have a little bit different training methodology than some folks out there. We're very, very aggressive in the way that we train. We want to stay on the offensive side versus the defense, and that's how I approach everything, from the way I hold my rifle to the way my stance is set up. We want to be in a fighting stance, which happens to also be our shooting stance. There's a lot of schools out there that teach a shooting stance, which is not anywhere near a fighting stance. So that's something that we push with not Carbine 1.5, but all of our courses. We also do a pistol 1.5, which is a high-level pistol course. We'll do shooting on the move in a lot of non-standard positions, shoot out to 100 yards if we can with the pistol, just to show people what can really be done with these sidearms that they're carrying. We also do a Street Fighter course, which is fighting in and around vehicles with the rifle and the pistol, and we also do that at night, which is a night fighter course. And that's kind of the transition you have to go through. You've got to go from Carbine 1.5 is a stepping stone to Street Fighter, which is a stepping stone to Night Fighter. Excuse me. We also do the Leadership in the Shadows events. We do many of those during the year, which is a one-day, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes longer than that, depending on what we're brought in to do. We do some assault leaders courses, which is a 5-day course training folks how to plan and execute an assault and being in a leadership position for that. And that involves conducting, missions, whatever capability we have there, whether it's live fire or just simunitions. We do at least simunitions and then step that up to live fire if we can. We also do tactics courses for military and law enforcement, where we're teaching the dynamic room-to-room type tactics. We do high-angle long-range shooting courses out in Wyoming, where we also
you can learn to shoot a baboon, maybe.
Yeah, oh yeah, baboons out there. We actually
baboons in
every
Wyoming?
student. What's that?
There's baboons in Wyoming?
No, there's not baboons in Wyoming. In Wyoming, we have bears. So what we do in the high-angle long-range courses, for the courses that we run in May and part of June, when we do that, we also give each student a bear tag. So we're out there training all day, and then they get to hunt bear. If we do a spot and stalk on a bear, or if we put them on a bear bait, they can also have a chance of hunting bear while they're there. Those courses, we also teach the pack animal training, so we're teaching the Special Forces guys especially how to, we've also done that work for some federal agencies, teaching them how to pack their gear on animals. I help with that, and I help teach it a little bit, but the primary instructor is a friend of mine, Rob Wiley, who runs a company called Non-Typical Outfitters, but he and I work together out there because he has all the horses and all the gear for that, and I bring the shooting side of that and more of the application side, and then we work together on those courses. We do some shotgun courses every now and again. That's not a very popular course because not a lot of people are carrying shotguns as a primary weapon system anymore. We do some breacher courses for the military, and we have done some of those for law enforcement, but let's see, what else do we do? We do some low-vis courses, and a lot of these we do for the military. They ask us to do a concealed carry, we call it low visibility course, so that everything is done from concealment, whether it's the rifle or the pistol or whatever it might be, everything's done from concealment.
Yeah, excellent. If someone wanted to take one of these courses, obviously if you're civilian, not all of them are available. Like most of them he was talking about were obviously for the military and law enforcement, but he does have tons of civilian courses you can take. They can just find all your contact information for classes up and coming at vikingtactics.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're I guess we're a little bit hard to get a hold of. We're very easy to get an email to, but as far as getting in a class, what I would tell you is we have a few people around the country that we set courses up with. We've got Irv Lehman down at Southern Exposure in Florida. We do 2 to 3 classes a year with his outfit, so civilians can sign up for those. Mike Naztek up in New Hampshire, which we've got some classes coming up in July. We still have a few open slots for the pistol class. The carbine course is full, but the pistol course has some slots, so if you are interested in getting that course, you can just email us, lamb@vikingtactics.com, and that will go to one of our folks working with us, and they'll get the information to Mike, and they'll get folks set up for that class. We don't do a lot of civilian courses. I mean, we try to do as many as we can, but maybe some people would be upset with me, but my first priority is to train the military, the U.S. military, because of my background. I feel like I owe it to those guys to do that, so I prioritize with training the U.S. military first, and then civilians come right after that. So.
Yeah, very nice. We'll have Kyle's email if you guys are interested in a course down in the description after this video. So very nice. I mean, I've watched some of your videos over the time, and the most interesting course that I find that I would like to take is the Street Fighter course. I mean, you got a lot. You got the AR stuff. You're shooting through glass windows of cars. You're crashing cars into other cars. It just comes to seeing like, one of the most real life scenario courses or training courses that you can take. So I mean, obviously they got to do some stepping stones to get to that one, but that'll be one of the ones I'll be very interested in, especially with a pistol caliber, because I'm a big pistol guy. So I was curious to see if a round like a 9mm round was to go through a windshield of a car, like how much is actually behind it after it breaks that window. I would, my assumption, uneducated assumption, would be that there's not much packing behind it, and that round's probably going to go somewhere else. But what do I know? That's why I would want to take that course.
Well, the funny thing is the educated people don't know either.
There you go. So I don't feel so bad now. Thanks for the save there, Kyle.
So it's pretty safe to say that in your average training year, you don't train a lot of ladies. Am I correct?
We probably train. Well, yeah, we train less females than we do males, but we still do have. We have a lot of law enforcement ladies that are in courses. We have military ladies that are in courses that we've done. Yeah, we definitely have females. It's just that we don't have as many as we do dudes out there,
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely a smaller number there.
Dang. Come on, ladies.
No, they're allowed to sign up. They just have to bring it to the range there, and it is fun when I get to train ladies, like shooting with my wife, shooting with my daughter, shooting with these ladies that show up to classes. At least they listen. A lot of men have kind of a chip on their shoulder, and
See? You hearing that?
it's a
not a bad
lot
thing.
easier to trade a female to shoot. I've had to kick a few of their husbands off the ranges so I could train them, but it works out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
That's awesome.
you train quite a few people, and what are your thoughts about this hardcore competition guy that comes and takes a Kyle Lamb course? Do you see a lot of technique issues that you wouldn't recommend, or what are your thoughts versus the competition guys going to your classes? If you get any.
If I could tell you the exact student that I want to come to my classes, the best student that I could ever have come to my class is a guy that's an IPSC shooter first, IDPA shooter second, and then they also are military or law enforcement, because we can take a guy like that, and if you take Rob Latham, the best pistol shooter on the planet, him or Jerry Micklick, and you throw them into a tactical thing, and I say, okay, well, do everything you're doing except for stand behind this wall, they're going to be the best shooters there. So their competition is awesome, and I try to push law enforcement and military guys to get involved in competition, because it's one of the only ways they can really test themselves before they get in an actual gunfight. You don't know how you're going to act in a gunfight, but I can tell you one thing. I've been more nervous at the 3-gun nationals in a shoot-off competition than I've ever been in a real gunfight. So,
Interesting.
I mean, that should tell you something.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because I know, I don't want to call out any names, but there's a lot of controversy when it comes out to some instructors versus the competition guys. I don't know what it is. I guess they don't consider it like a real life type of thing, and you're shooting out in the open versus, there's 8 targets and you're just shooting out in the open, blasting away. So I guess the mindset, kind of gets thrown off, and there's some back and forth about it. But it's good to hear your opinion on that for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, if these guys that are sitting in their basement eating Cheetos, sitting in a beanbag chair, hey, let me tell you something. Get out of that chair, get on the range, and bring it out there. Gunfights, okay, maybe they're 1-2 rounds, whatever, or maybe they're 500 rounds. I've been in some gunfights like Mogadishu that was pretty intense. But the point is, you've got to get on the range and you've got to train, and the best way to do that is with competition. If all you ever do is go there and say, okay, draw and shoot 1 target, well, I'm never going to get attacked by 2 people. Well, dude, come on, grow up here. Put a bunch of targets. We shoot these drills, and they're called shooting drills. We don't put the Viking tactics shooting scenarios, because if it was a shooting scenario, it's not much fun to shoot, because you're going to run into a room, you're going to shoot 1 target, and then you're done. But a shooting drill like the chaos drill or 1 through 5 drill or the 9-hole drill or any of those drills that we put out there. They're made to build your shooting skills. So yeah, I would disagree. I would venture to guess that I have a somewhat decent pedigree as far as my tactical background. And if you want to look at what I say versus the guy that doesn't have as good a pedigree, I absolutely 110% am a huge fan of 3-gun competition, pistol competition, any type of competition you can get into. I don't care if it's small bore. You take a small bore shooter and get them out there shooting tactically. They're awesome shooters. Long range competition. I mean, yeah, competition is awesome.
There you have
Don't
it.
you all support? I'm pretty sure I saw something about you support some junior shooter. Am I correct? I can't remember what the kid's name was. Joe
Joe Murray.
something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe Murray.
Yes, I've
Yeah,
seen your name
so
attached to that. That's awesome. We had a junior shooter on last night's show, actually. So we're always really pleased to see companies, help and support junior shooters.
well, we try to we support some competitions out there. We also support some law enforcement and military competitions. We send stuff to Afghanistan or Iraq for guys doing shooting competitions over there with their guys or whatever. But Joe has a special place in my heart because of his dad, John, who is he carries a gun for a living, and his son is he's just an incredible kid, and I really wish I could spend more time with him because I probably haven't seen him in 3 years now because of my traveling. But when I get up there, he's just a super intelligent kid, and he was supporting Viking Tactics before we ever supported him. And finally, we're like, hey, can we help you out? So he kind of got a little surprise here a couple months ago. I sent him a brand new Viking Tactics rifle, and
Wow.
he's pretty stoked about that. So is his dad. They're just great. His dad's an awesome guy. He's carried a gun for many years, and or professionally, and he also is a competitive shooter as well. So good for him, and I hope that more and more people get out and do that.
Yeah, excellent. We got a live question here. I've been slacking on the live questions here, but Rican 420 is asking here. He said, "What's Kyle's favorite gun?" And if he had to carry something different, if he had to choose something different today, what would it be? It's a pretty basic question.
My favorite gun.
Are you hunting or are you carrying?
Yeah, if
or...
I'm,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really difficult question. Overall, my favorite, if you said one weapon system to carry, it would be the AR-15. That's absolutely my favorite gun to shoot, to carry, it's just you can hunt with it. If you're in a survival situation, if I had that, I think that I'd be a pretty happy camper if I had plenty of ammo. It's a modular weapon, so you can change it out. You can pretty much gunsmith on your own if that's what you want to do. That'd probably be my favorite.
Yeah,
I can't say which model because, man, things are changing so quickly. Of course, it'd be a VTAC version of it, but.
Yeah,
And then what was the second part was what, Anthony?
If you can choose something different today, what would it be? So it's kind of like you can't have the AR-15 anymore. What are you going with?
Ooh.
Wow, that's a difficult one.
Second choice, there are no AR-15.
Yeah, they haven't been
Second
made.
choice, no ARs. I'm not going to say the AK because that's what everybody would think it would be. Let's see. Probably the Ruger 1022. How about that?
There you go. I would have said a lever action rifle because we were talking about
Now,
that.
see, that's a good call there. We had that conversation earlier. That is a very good call. And if you get around somebody that knows how to use a lever gun, holy cow, it's devastating.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I guess when the food riots start, we'll see what guns are available.
Yeah, there you go. Rich, you had a lot of questions lined up there. Fire away.
All right, let's see. Let me put on the old man glasses. All right. Yeah. Kyle, you got a set of these too, you know. I've seen you wear them. 21 years in the military, 18 plus years Delta. What was the most valuable lesson that you learned throughout your career that you now roll over and teach your students?
The most valuable lesson that I learned was to always think outside of the box with your shooting skills. And the biggest shooting skill that I see that folks don't practice is shooting from their support side. And I'll tell you, when I was in Somalia, that's something that everybody should have been able to do, but not everybody was comfortable with it. And I was one of those guys. I mean, we never taught our guys to shoot from the support side. And after you've been shot at a little bit, you want to try to figure out how you can do that and how you can train that way. And I shot with a guy named Benny Cooley, who's a very dear friend of mine. He's also one of the top 3-gun shooters out there. And he and I have become good friends over the years. And one of the things he taught me, he's like, hey, man, just practice from the support side and, do that for a couple days and you'll be comfortable with it. And I thought, well, that's kind of goofy. And then I shot with Benny for a couple days on the range. And we ran around just doing all kinds of craziness. And I shot from the support side as much as I shot from my strong side. And now I shoot from both sides. I don't shoot quite as fast from my support side, but that's the biggest thing that I can tell people to do is work on your strong side, support side, and your strong and support side only. And one of the things I want you to take away from that is I never call it the weak side, because I don't have a weak side. I can shoot with both hands, and if you're taking, especially if you're out there training new shooters, it's very important not to tell a new shooter they have something that's weak, because if you do that, then they're going to start to think they're weak, and we don't want that.
Yeah, I mean, you probably nailed it on the head right there, because, saying anything you say negative, especially to a new shooter or even someone who's been shooting for years, it just kind of puts that in their head, and now, now it's in there, and now it can happen. So, I mean, even in the high-level competition guys, you come across that stage where it's weekend only headshots, and they're like, oh, these, they get me every time. But even with the competition guys that I've talked to locally, or even on the show, it's kind of like everybody brushes off this, the support hand stuff, or if you're right-handed, they don't work with the left hand, and it'll at the level, I'm not a IDPA expert, I'm not no world-class guy, but at a level that I noticed that I'm at now, that one stage comes along where you have something that you didn't work on, it's a stage that kills your match time, and you drop a few places, and that's one of the key ones is support side shooting. I think at the last match that I shot, it was like 10 yards headshot, 6 paper targets, and boy did I bomb that stage. I'm just
yeah, and a lot of that is mindset too. Your mindset has to be right when you're shooting from the support side, because absolutely 100% every single time I go to the range, I shoot from my support side, either my rifle or my pistol, every single time. And because it's difficult, and you say 10-yard headshots on paper targets, that's a difficult shot even for me. So I've got to tell myself, get my front sight on that target and squeeze, 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 don't make the gun go off, and let it surprise you every time. And if you talk to me, you talk to you talk to Rob Latham, guess what? We're all struggling with the exact same thing. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult, and that's why you've got to work on it every time.
Yeah, very nice, very good advice on the support stuff. I mean, we're gonna give a shout out here to Schwell11. He popped in here, popped out. His internet's acting up. Like I said, we're kind of Florida at this time. Thunderstorm. It rains for 5 minutes and then stops. So his internet went down, but he's watching and he's still posting those giveaway links. He's still active in like the comment section, but wanted to give Schwell11 a shout out. The show, doesn't run quite as well without the Schwell.
And just for the record, Anthony, I'm not missing that weather. I want you to know that.
You're
back up here in the Great White North, up here in New Hampshire, I'm not missing Florida at all.
Yeah, it's missing us though. It's heading towards actually the Carolinas, I believe. Last update. I don't know. I just hope it just turns away and goes back, obviously, into the ocean. Well, we got a live question here that came in from Leo. He just wanted your opinion, Kyle, on a 300 blackout. Are you sold on it or are you not?
It's cool. I'm not going to use it, but it's an interesting cartridge. Uh, the 300 blackout or 300 whisper, however you want to look at it. There's the issue I've got with it. It's just not a very hot round. So if you want to shoot all suppressed up close, then I'd say it's probably a pretty good choice. If you're going to shoot suppressed, just shoot a lot because you just have a hard time killing stuff with the suppressed ammo the way it's moving. A lot of the one of those manufacturers in particular that has done a lot of the 200 plus grain bullets for that, they actually had severe issues killing animals with that round. So I don't know. We took my son-in-law out this last fall. He'd never killed a deer, and I actually had him hunt with a 300 Whisper from Smith & Wesson, 300 Whisper ammo from Hornady, which is 300 Blackout. Just that they give the credit back to J.D. Jones there, and it killed this deer deader than a doornail. That was not suppressed ammo. That was like I forget what weight bullet that was. I wrote an article about it, but it worked on a deer. I'm not oversold, I guess. And I'll tell you another thing you got to be careful of is just don't load 300 Blackout in your 5.56 rifle. If you haven't seen pictures of those guns blowing up, it's really, really dangerous to do that, and it happens. Nobody does that on purpose, but I've been exposed to a few of those happening. I've only been there personally for one of those explosions. We had a young fella come out to a class, and he actually works for Daniel Defense, and he showed up, and he had let somebody borrow a couple mags for his rifle or something, and they gave him back, and they said, yeah, I got them loaded up for you or whatever. At least that's the story he told me, and it doesn't matter how it happened. What matters is that it happened. He gets up on the range, and he's a left-handed shooter, and he's banging away. We've got a police class going on, and they supplied all the guns for these policemen. So they said, yeah, bring a Daniel Defense guy out here. 300 Blackout feeds up into this 5.56 rifle, squeezed the trigger, and the gun lost its mind. And like I said, he's a left-handed shooter, so his face was all covered with stuff. Luckily, he didn't get hurt, but scared the crap out of him and the guys beside him. But if people tell you that a 300 Blackout won't feed into a 5.56 rifle, they haven't been around the range or to any testing facilities where this happens on a regular basis. So just please be careful if you have that. I mean, when my son-in-law was here with this rifle, we inventoried ammo every night. I mean, we counted for every piece of brass and every cartridge because I did not want one of those cartridges accidentally. I got a lot of ammo laying around. That might be hard to believe, but I do not want a 300 Blackout somehow getting into that can.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, it can happen. I mean, it definitely, even at the indoor range. I mean, you're shooting with a bunch of buddies, and everybody gets excited, and all your buddies go to the indoor range, and they all bring their pistols, and everybody's testing out everybody's firearm, and then something get mixed up, and then you can have it exploded Glock like Kyle uses as his paperweight.
Would you want me to show that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I love the Glock, so every time someone shows something like that, it kind of hurts me. But we're going to show it.
No, I love the Glock too. This could happen to any gun. Something happened and it went sideways. Here's the important thing. You can see that the top of that breech came apart a little bit. The trigger guard was blown off of the weapon and it blew the magazine out. And the guy that was firing this weapon when it happened had absolutely zero injuries. So, that says something there. And that's kind of like the 5.56 rifles. When you see those guns blow up, normally people don't get hurt if it's a 5.56 rifle. When it's not a 5.56 rifle, 300 Blackout or a 6.8 or 6.5 or something like that, and it comes apart, sometimes it can get a little bit nasty.
Yeah, well, since we're on the topic of rifles, I mean, you have the new M&P VTAC rifle coming out with the Troy rail. It's a all new system that you guys are releasing. You want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we initially had the Smith & Wesson M&P VTAC 2, which is the 5.56 version, and later this fall, it's still a few months out, but there's going to be a 7.62 version of the M&P 10 that's going to come with our rail and some other goodies. The trigger is going to be an enhanced trigger as well. It'll come with a sling and a light mount and things like that. But if you've looked at the M&P 10s that Smith & Wesson's putting out, they're pretty cool rifles. Very lightweight, and it kind of sticks with our mantra of having a very accurate, lightweight rifle, and it looks like that's going to happen for later this fall.
Nice. We're going to look forward to that, and stay tuned for the updates on that. If you guys can't wait, there also are other VTAC line of AR-15s out there for you to purchase. We're going to jump in here to the lightning round. We're at the Schwell's on top of me. He's like, you're at the 42-minute mark. Probably a little bit past that, but we're gonna jump.
I want to ask something real quick.
Go ahead, go for it.
The 5.11 tactical kilt. What? I've seen the video. I know you posted a video a while ago of Scruffy Wallace from Dropkick and the video and stuff. Really, are you Kyle Lamb gonna wear the tactical kilt?
Absolutely, 100% no.
All right, now wait a minute. I got a problem with this. First of all, Kelly, not only do I own a tactical kilt, I actually have a real Scottish World War I kilt that I wear quite often, and I have to admit, it's tactically proficient. Just want to say for the record, okay?
No, now, hey, Rich, I'm not saying it's not tactically proficient, but I come from a long line of Vikings, not from a long line of Irish and Scots. So here's the thing. If they make that thing out of bear skin, I'll wear it. But I'm not wearing it the way it is because there's no hair and there's no leather. So it's got to be right before I'm going to wear that thing.
I understand.
If somebody hearing this, somebody needs to make a kilt out of bear skin or hair.
Yeah.
It'll be done shortly. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Rich wears a kilt out to go grab a beer. He'll just throw it on. He's going to the Quickie Mart. He wears a kilt. He always.
True story. There's a Highland Festival up here in Maine, and I went up because my mom is Scottish. I come from the Mackenzie clan, and I went to the Highland game. So I'm coming back, and I was hungry. There's a local rib shack around the corner, so I walk in full kilt. I didn't pay for dinner. I didn't pay for drinks. Successful
Man.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you, a good word of advice is don't pick on a dude with a kilt. Just leave him alone. Let it, because something's wrong. I mean, either he comes from a clan like that, and those guys tend to still be a bit angry, and I can't blame them because they've kind of been abused in their motherland, and then they come over to the United States and they still get abused. So just leave those jokers alone, because when they snap, you don't want to get beat up by a dude wearing a kilt. You know what I'm saying? So just avoid them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was funny because the owner of the restaurant turned around and goes, "Well, you don't have a gun on you." And I lifted up the kilt, and sure enough, I had a gun on me. He says, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
You flashed the bartender owner. You lifted up your skirt or kilt. I'm sorry.
Kilt. Yeah. I gave tactical thigh rig a whole new meaning.
Man, you're killing me. I tell you what, there's the SOs, safety officers at the local where I shoot, local range. They wear it. I mean, and they're always the joke of the town. That you know, with the guys in the background. Check these guys up. Hopefully the wind don't kick up too high. It's funny. They're good sports though. Good. They can take the punch, and it's good. They can do it. Punch you right back.
Hey, speaking of 5.11, did you get that new video I just sent you, Anthony?
Which one?
I sent you a link just a little while ago. Actually, you're probably busy trying to get the stuff working here, but there's a new video that was just released yesterday that's called I Am 5.11, and the first one they released was this video that they filmed of us.
Yeah, I saw it.
So it's got my dog on there, and my son's with me, and a couple different things. So if you guys get a chance to check it out, it was kind of a fun thing to do. They came to our place and we filmed for a couple days, and they're getting into the hunting market and doing a few things. But my dog Trigger, she made her first. That's her first debut into the world of video, so that was kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah, we'll share that video. Is it on your YouTube channel? Or is it on the Viking Tactics YouTube?
No, it's actually a 511 thing.
Ammo
Yeah,
Land put it out today. Was it today?
Today maybe. I got a link yesterday to look at it, and then today it went live.
Excellent. So we'll definitely share that on the Facebook page, and we'll put a link down after this show is over, where I can, have the access to put links down in the description box. So
I think it should be on our Facebook page now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So just type in the Viking Tactics, and it'll be the first page to pop up there. So check that one out. And if you're kind of doing the lazy route and you want to wait for the link, stay tuned because it'll be posted in the description box. Everybody's like, you check out this ammo's in stock, right? And everybody's like, or powder's in stock, and they're like, well, show me a link. I'm like, dude, just go to the website. But everybody wants the link, so they just want to click and then they're there. They don't want to do any searching anymore. So there we have it. Rich, what do you got? You got some more. I know we want to get through some of your questions on that.
Well, yeah, all right, you didn't warn me. I got to think of one.
Well, let's go to the lightning round. When you get that question lined up, let's do the lightning round here. We're supposed to go to it, and I'm offbeat already. But lightning round, Kyle, is just quick answers. If you can have one or the other, what would it be? And we had this thing going on with one of the previous guests. But if you can only wear one and choose one to wear, is it the battle belt or is it the tack vest?
Battle belt.
Battle belt. There you go.
Oh, Dustin Pluth just gets $1. I want to tell you that. Anthony, you said it. That's 50 cents, and Kyle said it. That's 50 cents. So Dustin made $1.
Yeah, I'll pocket it in his PayPal account. If you can only carry one and shoot one, is it the 9mm or the 40?
9mm.
Yeah, I can agree. I think one person ever choose 40 in the history of the show. If the zombies are outside your window, whatever you want to consider the zombies, you have the rifle, the pistol, or the shotgun right next to you. Which one are you grabbing to get the job done?
None of them, because zombies don't exist. They're imaginary, dude.
The bad guys are outside your window.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna grab my AR.
Yeah, the AR. I could have.
You've been overrun by baboons.
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
We probably know I probably know his answer on this one too. But if you had to choose the Palom or Striker fire guns, the Glock, M&P, or XDM.
Where am I at? If you're talking like an end of the world scenario, I'm going to pick the Glock because I believe I could find supplies easier for the Glock. If you're just saying which gun would I rather shoot, I would rather shoot the M&P. But when it comes to availability of parts, and the Glocks are just everywhere, and the Glock's an awesome pistol. So is the Springfield, but my choice would be the M&P, the Glock, and then the XD.
Yeah, good choice. I thought you were just gonna hit M&P immediately, but you gave Glock some credit there, so I'm pretty happy about that. If you can only drive one, is it the Chevy or the Ford?
That's a crappy question. You know I drive a Prius.
No way. You drive a Prius with the beard?
Dude, do you think somebody's gonna pick on me driving a Prius? Come on, man.
Yeah,
no, here's the thing. I drive a Chevy. A pretty big Chevy 2500. However, if I was to buy a new truck today, it'd be a Ford.
There you have it. The first one to also said one of my lightning rounds stupid, so we're just never going to ask that one ever again on the show. The Chevy versus Ford question is gone. More silly questions, and we're almost done with the lightning round, is Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris get into a street fight in their prime. Who do you have winning that?
Bruce Lee.
Interesting. I thought you would go with the All-American.
So should we ask the beard question, his beard versus Costa's beard, who's going to win in the fight?
That's quick. There you go. Kelly's lightning round question.
You guys are crazy.
I don't know. Costa's beard has been known to kick some ass, but it depends on, what CLP did you use on that beard that day?
You know what you really got to do is you got to see
the
the beard side by side, because if you see these beards side by side, you're definitely going to pick mine.
Yeah, it definitely looks nice and full. I can give you that. It definitely looks like
Chris is a good buddy of mine, and and he knows that someday his beard's going to grow up and be just like mine.
There you go. So we know who wins that. You're out on the town. This is the last one of the day. Are you choosing a domestic beer or an imported beer?
I don't drink.
There you go. Second person who said that. Pepsi or Coke? Last one.
Coke.
There you go. I agree with the Coke. Excellent. Let's see if we have any live
I don't drink that stuff either, but hey, man, I'll pick a Coke just because I like Coke better than Pepsi.
Yeah, good choice. I come from the restaurant, and then like I said, the lame story, but I'm like, I asked the waiter for a Coke, and he's like, "Is a Pepsi fine?" Well, not really, dude, but I guess I gotta go with it, right? So I kind of, Rich, go to your question, and then we'll hit some live.
Well, that's what they ought to do. Hey, I'd like a Ford. Oh, all we have is Chevy. Is that fine? Well, no, dude. I want a Ford. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know why they have to carry one product to the other, but I guess you go to a restaurant and you want what you. Well, let's not drag out the Coke question. There we go. Rich, go for it.
All right. Besides accuracy shooting, you talked about support hand shooting. What other shooting drills should someone practice as often as they can, like malfunction drills, tactical reloads, mag retention? Is there something else from a defensive point of view that a shooter should practice just as often as accuracy?
Yeah, I practice non-standard positions. So I practice, shooting in and around barricades, under vehicles, things like that, because that takes some practice. And if you're changing up your gear, it's really important to go out there and run through that type of a drill with your gear. Whereas malfunctions, reloads, and all that stuff, that might be a little bit closer. But if you get a new helmet, a new set of ear pro, and you go into the brokeback mountain prone position under a vehicle, it's going to be different than if you did it without that ear pro and a helmet on. So that's something that I always try to practice that as well. And I'll tell you, some of those positions too, when I'm testing rifles to see how accurately I can shoot, I actually can shoot more accurately from a rollover prone position than I can from a regular prone position, because the gun is laying on the ground. And that may sound goofy, but it's a good way to air out a new gun too. People laugh at me when I do it, but I can shoot better that way.
Yeah, excellent. We got tons of viewers that actually started piling in, and we got a lot of live questions that started coming in, especially from the ladies. This one here is from Jen, and she asks, does Viking Tactics have any female instructors? And if so, would you think that will help more females take your classes?
Yeah, we do not have any female instructors. That probably would help, but other than my wife, I wouldn't hire another female, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't either. Sorry.
There you have it. We have one here from Leo. Leo just wanted to thank Mr. Lamb for his service. So thanks, Leo. We had a couple more here. Is there? This one's from Rican here. Is there a basic go-to drill that would benefit someone interested in a basic carbine class?
The basic go-to drill, and it's not very basic, that I would recommend would be the Highsmith drill, because you're shooting left hand, right hand around barricades. You're shooting on the move, and then left hand, right hand again. If you haven't seen that drill, go to our page and check it out. And I think you'll see that if you can do that drill safely, you show up to one of our classes, you're going to be fine. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, very nice. Let's get into the giveaway here. I haven't announced it in a while. I think I only announced it once. So for those of you just joining us, the giveaway is here. 2-ounce bottle of Rand CLP, courtesy of randsbrands.com. You can also get this at vikingtactics.com if whatever you feel like going shopping that day. We also have a Blaytech Industries. They're doing 2 FDE magazine pouches. So big shout out to Blaytech Industries, and check them out. They're also doing a Ganna knife, if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a nice blade, pocket style blade from Blaytech Industries. That's going out. They also have a Viking Tactics AR-15 light mount. So if you have a modular rail system, you can put that mount on, and you want to use your flashlight. Probably one of the only accessories that I really have on my ARs is a light set up there. So all that's going out to 2 winners today. The giveaway ends at 11 Eastern, so you have 10 minutes to get in on this giveaway, guys. There's a link in the comment section below this video, so you can go click on that link and you can have like 4 or 5 entries into this giveaway by liking Viking Tactics, Blade Tech, and Rand CLP. Also, if you shoot over to the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page, you'll see the giveaway link posted at the top of the page on our wall, and you guys can go in there. So get in there now because it ends. I kind of set it up so it'll be longer than the show was, but we got started late on the show, so now it's kind of running down. So you guys have 9 minutes to get in on that giveaway. We'll select 2 winners after the show is over tonight. Awesome stuff. Rich, you got any go-to questions you want to hit? I know I didn't warn you.
That's okay. Go-to questions. Yeah, I do actually. Something that I think about often. There's 2 of them, but I'm going to hit one first. With the market offering so many different types of optic systems, everything from red dots, from the aim points, A65 reticle patterns, from the EOTechs, variable optics powers like the Trigicons or whatever. Is there any one platform that you like and why? What drives you to that one particular platform?
One particular optic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that if I had to pick one optic, I'd pick the Leupold 1-6. And the reason I say that right now is because that gives you a broad enough spectrum that you can get down to 1 power and shoot relatively quickly. And at the distance, you can shoot way faster than you can with a red dot. You know, you can't make a 500-yard shot with a red dot sight. I mean, you might get lucky. Whereas with the 1-6 power scope, that scope I really like it. And at the bottom power, it's a great scope. And when I say the 1-6, there's 2 scopes that Leupold makes. They make a VX6 and they make the Mark 6. If I was going to pick one, I would probably pick the VX6 because it costs about half the price of the Mark 6. It's not a front focal plane scope, so being a rear focal plane scope, it is a little bit faster at the low power. But you can't range with it. But I don't really feel like I have to range with my AR as much as I would with making a longer sniper shot or something like that. So the 1-6 would be my choice.
Okay.
Excellent. I'll remind you guys who just came in or came in recently, the Q&A section on the bottom left-hand corner, if you click on that, you can submit your live questions to the show, and we'll get them over to Kyle as soon as we can. Kyle, we're talking about ARs again. You have a signature AR-15 barrel you are releasing, and you partnered up with a few companies. You want to talk about that signature barrel?
Yeah, we wanted to have the right barrels. We always are having to get our barrels. You know, when John Domeski was still alive, he had made a couple of special barrels for me where he took his lightweight barrels and then he further machined them and fluted them and did a few things for us. And we decided that if we could ever get a company that could make the barrels the way we wanted, we would try to do something. Well, I met the guys from Christensen Arms, and they make some carbon fiber wrapped barrels. The barrels that we're doing initially are not carbon wrapped, but we decided to do barrels with them, and they're unbelievable barrels. And we should have them next week. The first ones, there's a lightweight barrel, an ultralight, which is just a fluted version of the lightweight, and then we have an M4 type barrel. They'll be available both versions are stainless steel, but we also have a melanited version of the stainless steel, and that's a little bit more expensive because it's another process that we have to do. But they'll be available next week. We'll put all the specs and everything out so people can read up on those, and we should, like I said, we should have that available in the next 10 days. The barrels are done. We're just waiting for them to arrive at this point.
So there it is. Keep your eyes locked on Viking Tactics to get yourself, be one of the first ones to grab one of those signature barrels from them. So that would be awesome. You also just released a video on your YouTube channel recently that you partnered up with Salient, and you have their magwells and their base pads, which are IDPA legal, along with the magwell and the base pad, so they fit in the box, which is great because that's the game that I play. But you want to talk a little bit about those magwells, and they're available for purchase already.
Yeah, we have those available, so if folks want them, they can just go on there and order them, and we'll be good to go, or they'll be good to go. We have them in stock right now. The way that came about was I wanted a base pad that I could do one-handed malfunction clearances with that wasn't a big, extended pad. And I was talking to Adrian at Salient, and I told him what I wanted. I drew up, I'd drawn some photos or drawn some pictures for him, and I sent this to him, and he goes, well, this is cool, but it needs a magwell. And I said, no, I don't want a magwell, because if you put a magwell, then you can't get to the base pad. That's the downfall of pretty much every base pad out there. Either it doesn't work well, even without a magwell, you can't rip it out one-handed. So he said, well, we're going to make it work with the magwell. Okay, whatever. And then a couple months later, he sent me the magwell that worked with the base pads, and I was like, wow, this might actually work. So we went, at that point, we got pretty serious about it. And if you haven't seen it, you ought to check it out. If you have, you'll see that it works very well to rip those mags out one-handed. If you're never going to worry about one-handed drills, you probably don't need it. But if you're going to go in harm's way, this is something that you should have on your pistol. And you don't have to use a magwell. You can use just the base pads, but I would recommend doing both because it does speed up your reloads.
Yeah, and I like the magwell. It's not obnoxious like we think about magwells being. Like on mine now, I have a duty magwell from another company that is just, it serves a purpose. It helps with the reloads, but it's not obnoxious and huge, so it's not getting caught on anything that we have for competition. And that's really what it reminded me of. So I really like the look of it. Like you said, it serves a purpose, but it's not huge.
Yeah, one of the other things too, I'm glad you brought that up, because I have issues when I do a quick reload on some of these guns. If I'm wearing gloves, my gloves get in the way of doing the mag change. And with that magwell there, it doesn't get in the way. And the other thing too is we're working on one for the Glock, the smaller Glocks. And on a Glock 19, that's going to be just a super good piece of kit. And a lot of soldiers now are carrying Glock 19s, so they'll be able to put that on there, wear gloves, and they won't be pinching their fingers. They won't have an issue getting the mags to go in.
Is that billet? Is it like an billet aluminum material there?
It is, yep. And then it's hard coated, it's anodized, so.
Very nice. We got a live one that came in from Smooth Breeze. What AR system does Kyle prefer? Direct gas impingement or gas piston?
Direct gas impingement.
There it is. We got a couple here. Schwell says he loves the beard talk. I mean, we kind of dabbled on the beard. I don't know if we want to go into it here more. Probably will at the end of the show. Got tons of stuff coming in. Kelly, do you have anything on your end you want to talk about?
Oh, I did want to say that I love the T-shirts that are available on the Viking Tactics website, and I especially like the funner than stomping baby chickens. I think that one is.
Do you want to hear the story?
You want to hear the story behind that? Yeah.
Okay, so me and my buddy were walking through this show, and we started walking through this. It was like it wasn't the SHOT Show, it was another show, but we started walking around, and if you go to these shows, there's different sections. There's the beef jerky section, there's the deer hunter section, and then there's the turkey hunter section, then there's the AR section or whatever. So we walked through the turkey hunting section, and this guy comes up, and they're all doing these turkey calls, and hey, I love hunting turkey, and I love the sound of a turkey, but when there's 50 different dudes doing turkey calls, it's really, really obnoxious. So this guy comes up, he goes, man, you hunt turkeys? We're like, oh, yeah, we love to hunt turkeys. He goes, oh, what's your favorite way to hunt them? And we said, well, what we try to do is we try to catch them when they first hatch, and we go out there and we just stomp the babies. We just stomp the baby turkeys. We're totally joking with this guy, and he almost starts to cry about us stomping these baby turkeys, and he's like, man, you're messed up, man, you're messed up, We said, hey, bro, we're just messing with you. We're not stomping any baby turkeys. So the original thing was we'd be on the range, and I'd be talking, and I'd say, man, that's funner than stomping a baby turkey, and the turkey is just. That just doesn't make sense, So it became this is funner than stomping baby chickens. And I would say that on the
You
range
guys
during
have to
classes.
see the shirt. I don't know if you can really see it on my phone. I'm trying to screenshot it there, but it has the huge Viking, and he's literally squashing these little baby chicks, and it's awful, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen, and so I'm totally gonna have to sport one because just look at it. I mean, it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it was. So we were out doing a class in Arizona with this team, and they said, "Dude, you got to do the shirt. You have got to do the funner than stomping baby chickens T-shirt." So I told our graphics guy, I said, "Hey, just do a Viking stomping some chickens," and he's like, "Dude, you're sick." And here's the problem with it. Anybody that knows me knows that I am like the biggest animal lover. You know, we actually have chickens on our place where we live here because we wanted to, you know, raise our own, have our own eggs and do all this stuff. We got these little baby chickens, and I'm like a little kid out there playing with these stupid chickens, which is ridiculous. But anyway, that's where it came from. So
I love it.
Yeah, go check out those shirts, guys, for sure. There's a good story behind that one too. There's like a good story behind everything. You know.
We have a new shirt coming out. Tony, you're gonna love this, Anthony. You're gonna love this one.
Go for
This
it.
is just for you. I've been nominated for an award. I'm going out to California to get this award, and it's the Living Legend Award for the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Now, that kind of strikes me funny when I got nominated for this because I'm not a huge martial arts guy. I've got beat up a bunch by martial arts guys, so I guess that counts. But they started to nominate weapons experts for this. So I'm one of the guys that's going to get inducted into this Hall of Fame on the 1st of August out there. So I was telling some folks about this the other night. I had a supper with some 5'11" people, and the guy goes, "Oh, really? I didn't know you're into martial arts. So what's your discipline?" And I told him, "Well, it's Ching Ching Pow." And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, had a slide. I said Ching Ching Pow, you know." And
Oh, that's awesome.
he goes, "Dude, that's a T-shirt." So we've got a new T-shirt that's coming out, and on the back it says Viking Tactics JoJo, and it says Ching Ching Pow, 5.56 degree, and it's there's this Chinaman, and he's got these two pistols and a little VTAC logo, and he's out there shooting. So that's going to be one of our new T-shirts that's coming out.
Oh my God, I love it.
That's awesome. That's great.
When will that be available?
That's probably going to be another month or so.
A month or so on that. Awesome, man. There's some two good T-shirts you guys can look forward to getting.
Ching Ching Pow.
Ching Ching Pow. I mean, you've done a lot of training over the years. I mean, so what's the gun that you have seen, or the pistol platform? We're just going to do pistols here, that you've seen fail the most. Is there a particular brand, striker fire, hammer fire? Is there any particular platform that you've seen fail the most?
Yeah, the 1911s fail by far the most. They have I mean, there's other guns that fail. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've had Glocks fail, M&Ps fail, a lot of Berettas I've seen fail. But if you want to say, and by a failure, I'm just saying malfunctions and broken guns. If we took all the malfunctions and all the broken guns, by far the largest number would be 1911s. And I love 1911s. They're fun to shoot, but I just, when my life's on the line, I probably want something that I can rely on a little bit more. So it'd be a Glock or an M&P. For a time, we saw a lot of I shouldn't say a lot. I saw a handful of SIGs where we had some slides and barrels going downrange, but they've since fixed the problem, and I don't know exactly what the deal was with their takedown lever. Something was breaking where these slides were literally flying off the guns. So yeah, it would definitely be the 1911 in the pistols.
Very nice. We want to talk about your book that has been out for a while, but it's your most recent release, and that's Leadership in the Shadows. You want to hit us with that?
Yeah, I wrote the first two books. They were about shooting, and that was pretty easy writing because I can tell you to do this, this, and this, and this is what's going to happen downrange. With the leadership, that was a little bit more difficult book to write, but I just take guys and gals through the experiences that I've had on the battlefield, as well as experiences I've had with law enforcement or other military people and business folks, and just it's a discussion of that. It's the whole book is not a bunch of war stories about me running across the battlefield or hiding under tables or whatever. It's about leadership. So we've had really, really good feedback on this book so far. We haven't put it out on Amazon yet because we're trying to let our dealers and distributors sell it as best they can, and then once they're happy with the sales they've gotten, then we're going to put it out on Amazon and go with that. But it's been we actually spoke at the NRA convention this year as well. I did a condensed leadership in the shadows there, and that was very well received. And we've actually been invited to speak again next year at the NRA convention, which will be in Nashville. So
At home, yeah, that'll be perfect.
I hope you guys will come out for that.
Absolutely,
yeah,
I was excited about that one.
And what's the date on that one again? Maybe see if I can free up.
Like the second week of April, I think.
Okay, yeah, let's put it on the schedule here. Got some fireworks going on outside my house. I don't know if you guys can hear them through the mic. But Rich, do you have any last?
I have it too.
You have them going off too? Yeah, the people are blowing them off early.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if I was hearing from yours or hearing from outside, but it's definitely outside.
Yeah.
I got Mother Nature's fireworks going on outside right now. I got a big storm coming through here. Yeah, one more question. Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I want your honest opinion on this. I see a lot of instructors doing it right now on YouTube, and we all know that there are people that take classes and they can afford taking classes. But a lot of people will go online to look at what they see online, and then they'll just take that as being the gospel. Just a small pet peeve. What's your opinion on press checking a weapon?
Rifle or a pistol?
Pistol. Do you think it's necessary?
Yeah, I do think it is necessary. I feel it's necessary because I've got to confirm that is loaded. With a rifle, I don't press check. I check my magazine. I'm able to do that. With a pistol, I can't check my mag because without turning a light on, there's no way for me to tell if I've actually loaded a round. I don't rely on loaded chamber indicators. I actually do a press check, and I can either do that visually or tactile with pulling it back and feeling the round to make sure that there's a round in there, and then making sure the gun goes back into battery. And I do that all the time, so I feel like I'm very confident that I can do a press check on my pistol, and I'm careful about it so I don't induce a double feed, because some guys they do it incorrectly and they induce a double feed when they do a press check. But then on the rifle, I've seen so many times where guys do a press check and then they don't get their weapon back into battery and they get a click. So with the rifle, I've went to where I drop the magazine and feel the first round to make sure that they've alternated sides.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done. I don't know what got me into the press check. I do it every time. You shoot when make ready, and I always strip one off. I recently been just pulling out the mag because obviously I shoot a 34, so I would put a mag with limits like 10 rounds. So I would pull it out. If it shows 10, then I'll know one's in the chamber. And usually with a Glock, you can if it's daylight, you can just kind of look and see that brass glowing. But I've always been a fan of the press check, even with competition. Even though for my time shooting, there's never been a time where I actually press check the weapon and not see the round chamber. So I mean, some deem might, I don't know, but your opinion, however you want to slice it. But if you did say, on the beep and you went to make that first shot and it was a click, that can ruin your whole shooting rhythm for that stage. And now it's a big ordeal. Like I said, it's never happened to me where that round didn't chamber, but it has happened to me where I've pulled out the mag and relied on the chamber and the round indications on the Glock mag, and I swear to you it said 11, but then when I shot that stage there wasn't 11 rounds in there. I don't know if sometimes the rounds stack up in that magazine funny and it gave me the wrong indication. I don't know, just my experience. So I still press check. I haven't had any issues with that gun not going back into battery. You're not on a timer at that point. Take all the time you want. Make sure your slide's forward, fully forward. Your magazine seated. I always double tap that magazine, make sure it's in there, because I shoot with a magwell as well with base pads on it. But with the magwell, sometimes it doesn't seat as well. You can get the magazine looks like it's seated, but it just isn't. So I don't know, take it for what it's worth on the press check thing. I notice about 90% of the guys that I see actually don't press check, but
Yeah, well,
it's one of the things that I use.
Tony and I had the conversation a couple weeks ago about that. My only thing is that press checking the weapon when you're holstering it, coming up on the line, making it hot is one thing. But when you're in the middle of a course of a fire and you're reloading, you're not rechecking the gun at that point. You're reloading, coming back up on target. So that's my only pet peeve. It's a Ford Chevy argument, but that's just,
Yeah, I don't press check when I do a speed reload or a slide lock reload or anything like that. But I will tell you
Right.
this: the absolute biggest number of malfunctions that I have in classes are incorrectly loaded weapons, by far. I mean, 10 to 1, it's an empty weapon. Guys show up on the line and they have not loaded their rifle, or they've loaded their rifle, they got a round in the chamber, but their magazine is not all the way seated. And one thing I was going to tell you, Anthony, is one thing I try to teach is when I have guys seat their magazine, I teach them not to double tap it when they seat it. I teach them to seat it till it clicks, and then pull down to make sure it's seated. Now, if you've got a magwell, it's hard to do that. But what I've noticed is, unless you train a lot, guys will, on their speed reloads, they'll double tap the mag as well. So just make sure you're not doing that, because when you're speed reloading, it should be seat it, roll back up, hit your slide stop, or slingshot or whatever your technique is to let the slide go and then get back in the fight.
Yeah, thanks for the advice. I haven't got into that bad habit yet. I usually, there's no time for that. I mean, I'm playing the game to win, so if I'm doing anything that's going to add a tenth of a second, then that's no good.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
But I do double tap it on the line. Have you ever noticed someone, just hitting the mag twice hard, make sure it's seated? Any malfunctions come from that?
No.
That's a
No,
habit.
I have seen malfunctions with ARs where guys will seat their mag so hard when they're loading that they'll induce a double feed. So you don't want to overseat your mag with your rifle, because you can have that happen. That just means you've got a bad mag. But if that's the mag you've got, that's what you've got.
Very nice. We're gonna wrap this one up here, man. It was a fun show. Absolutely. I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm glad it was able to happen, even though I was kind of tardy here, tactically late. But Rich, we want to go to the shout outs on your end. What do you got as far as shout outs and supporters?
Shout outs. Anthony at the Shooter's Mindset, great guy. Ran CLP, awesome. Kyle Lamb, I'll see you at the SIG Academy when you're up here. When are you up here? In a couple weeks?
Yeah, a couple of weeks I'll be up there. I'll actually be on the range in Pelham. You're coming with the RAN guys, right?
Yep, I'll be there.
Yep. We'll see you then.
Yep.
Is that all you got, Rich?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Kelly, go for it.
All my normal people, Patriot cases. I forgot to thank Brock the other day because he got me a case so I could go to Area 6 and shoot, and it was awesome. All my worries from the airport were just silly. Everything was fine. I didn't have to worry about anything. Fuji Tactical, XO by RCI, Frog Lube, Wayne Tac USA, TacCom, Comtac for my holsters, Animal Customs for awesome jerseys all the time, Mondo Rocks, Fail Zero, who coated my Glock slide and barrel, and also I brought home a nickel boron coated bolt carrier group that I'm going to try out too. It looks really, really pretty, so let's get it in and see how it shoots. Benchmade knives and notch gear for the cool new hats.
Yeah, she showed those hats last show. They're pretty. You got one on right now?
I have one on now. It's just backwards because
Get the whole girl look going
didn't
on.
do my hair today, so.
Yeah, if it looks pretty, Kelly will put it in the rifle just automatically. So if you got any pretty stuff you want to send Kelly, throw it her way. She'll pimp it out for you. Kyle, what do you have as far as shout-outs on your end, man? Everything you got, go for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'd like to say is thanks to all those folks that follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and anything that we can do to help, drop us an email. We don't respond to all the comments on Facebook and YouTube just because, quite honestly, I don't go on there very often, but we we really appreciate all of our customers and what they've done for us. And tomorrow's the 4th of July, absolutely my favorite holiday, and I want us to make sure we remember, why we're celebrating the 4th of July and all the guys that are out in harm's way and gals that are fighting around the world to make sure that we still have our freedom. So most importantly, I'd like to thank them, and then the folks that I'm out there shooting with, the Leopolds and Surefires and 511s and Rand CLP and Blade Tech, and now some of the other partners that we just started to work with. Of course, Troy Industries, we work with those guys. I'll often forget that we work with them because we work with them so much that it's just like, they're not from outside of our business. Yeah, anything you guys need, let us know. It's been an honor to be brought onto the show, and when you first invited me to come on, like I told you before, I really don't get on the internet that much, but I went and checked out some of your shows there, and you guys do a great job. So keep it up, and if you ever want me to come back to tell some war stories, I'd love to come back on.
Yeah, we'll love to have you back on, and I appreciate all the kind words.
I got a list of questions I haven't asked yet. So yeah, you come back on.
Yeah, look at that notepad he just waved in the camera. Jeez.
Oh yeah. There's got to be 25 questions here.
Yeah,
you'll see him in a couple weeks.
If you can identify this scope in the next 10 seconds, you get a special prize. Okay, it's done.
Oh man. So freeze frame that, guys. If you can identify that, hit the pause button and take a good hard look at the scope. I don't know. Shoot us if you can. I don't know. Go. Where do you want them to take that guess on the scope? Where can you?
I was just messing around.
Oh,
you guys keep making all these. You got all this cool stuff. I was trying to figure out what I've got. I've got cool at my desk here.
We have a last-minute giveaway prize. Is that what we're looking at?
That's pretty cool.
He has an awesome hat on.
There it
Camo
is.
511 hat.
If you bring that scope up here to New Hampshire, I will definitely promise you one hell of a lobster dinner. Please tell me you eat lobster.
Yeah. All right. All right,
Excellent.
guys. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, I got some last-minute shout-outs before we go here. We're going to do Blade Tech Industries. Big shout-out to them. I want you guys to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the show every Wednesday at 9. Well, most of the time every Wednesday at 9. We get a show live, rolling with a new guest, and all new live questions, a new giveaway. So please subscribe to the channel. Also, Terran Tactical Innovations, man, just an awesome, he just great job with the Glock mods, shotgun, rifle, definitely awesome systems that he's producing over there. I want to give randsbrands.com a big shout out for supporting me, Kyle, and the show for us, since the beginning almost. Also, Vikings Tactics, go check them out, vikingtactics.com. Kyle, as for taking time out of his day and actually sitting and waiting for me after my tardiness.
He's starving now. He hasn't had dinner.
Yeah.
So let's let him go eat.
Yeah, we got to get that venison that he probably got. Also, and just and I want to thank Kyle for his service and all that you do over in Viking Tactics and training the civilians. Just happy 4th of July to all the viewers, all the panel. Rich, thanks for coming on with us here. It was a pleasure. All right, guys, that'll conclude episode 47 of the Shooter's Mindset. Kyle, we're out of here. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day.